Chapter 45 of Lorna Doone. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Lorna Doone by R.D. Blackmore. Chapter 45. A Change Long Needed. Jeremy Stickles was gone south ere ever the frost set in, for the purpose of mustering forces to attack the Doone Glen. But now this weather had put a stop to every kind of movement, for even if men could have borne the cold, they could scarcely be brought to face the perils of the snowdrifts. And to tell the truth, I cared not how long this weather lasted, so long as we had enough to eat and could keep ourselves from freezing. Not only that I did not want Master Stickles back again to make more disturbances, but also that the Doones could not come prowling after Lorna while the snow lay piled between us with the surface soft and dry. Of course they would very soon discover where their lawful queen was, although the track of sled and snowshoes had been quite obliterated by another shower before the revellers could have grown half as drunk as they intended. But Marwood de Wickerhauser, who had been snowed up among them, as Gwenny said, after helping to strip the beacon, that young squire was almost certain to have recognised me, and to have told vile Carver. And it gave me no little pleasure to think how mad that Carver must be with me, for robbing him of the lovely bride whom he was starving into matrimony. However, I was not pleased at all with the prospect of the consequences, but set all hands on to thresh the corn ere the Doones could come and burn the ricks, for I knew that they could not come yet, inasmuch as even a forest pony could not traverse the country, much less the heavy horses needed to carry such men as they were. And hundreds of the forest ponies died in this hard weather, some being buried in the snow, and more of them starved for want of grass. Going through this state of things, and laying down the law about it, subject to correction, I very soon persuaded Lorna that for the present she was safe, and, which made her still more happy, that she was not only welcome, but as gladdening to our eyes as the flowers of May. Truly, so far as regarded myself, this was not 100th part of the real truth, and even as regarded others I might have said it 10 times over. For Lorna had so won them all by her kind and gentle ways, and her mode of hearkening to everybody's trouble, and replying without words, as well as by her beauty, and simple grace of all things, that I could almost wish sometimes the rest would leave her more to me. But mother could not do enough, and Annie almost worshipped her, and even Lizzie could not keep her bitterness towards her, especially when she found that Lorna knew as much of books as need be. As for John Fry, and Betty, and Molly, they were a perfect plague when Lorna came into the kitchen. For betwixt their curiosity to see a live Doone in the flesh, when certain not to eat them, and their high respect for birth, with or without honesty, and their intense desire to know all about Master John's sweetheart, dropped, as they said, from the snow clouds, and most of all, their admiration of a beauty such as never even their angels could have seen, betwixt and between all this, I say, there was no getting the dinner cooked with Lorna in the kitchen. And the worst of it was that Lorna took the strangest of all strange fancies for this very kitchen, and it was hard to keep her out of it. Not that she had any special bent for cooking, as our Annie had; rather indeed the contrary, for she liked to have her food ready cooked; but that she loved the look of the place, and the cheerful fire burning, and the racks of bacon to be seen, and the richness, and the homeliness, and the pleasant smell of everything. And who knows but what she may have liked, as the very best of maidens do, to be admired now and then, between the times of business. Therefore, if you wanted Lorna, as I was always sure to do, God knows how many times a day, the very surest place to find her was our own old kitchen. Not gossiping, I mean, nor loitering, neither seeking into things, but seeming to be quite at home, as if she had known it from a child, and seeming, to my eyes at least, to light it up, and make life and colour out of all the dullness, as I have seen the breaking sun do among brown shocks of wheat. But anyone who wished to learn whether girls can change or not, as the things around them change, while yet their hearts are steadfast and for ever anchored, he should just have seen my Lorna, after a fortnight of our life and freedom from anxiety. It is possible that my company, although I am accounted stupid by folk who do not know my way, may have had something to do with it; but upon this I will not say much, lest I lose my character. And indeed, as regards company, I had all the threshing to see to, and more than half to do myself, though any stranger would have thought that even John Fry must work hard this weather. Else I could not hope at all to get our corn into such compass that a good gun might protect it. But to come back to Lorna again, which I always longed to do, and must long for ever. All the change between night and day, all the shifts of cloud and sun, All the difference between black death and brightsome liveliness scarcely may suggest or equal Lorna's transformation. Quick she had always been, and pert, as we say on Exmoor, and gifted with a leap of thought too swift for me to follow, and hence you may find fault with much when I report her sayings. But through the whole had always run, as a black string goes through pearls, something dark and touched with shadow, coloured as with an early end. But now, behold, there was none of this. There was no getting her, for a moment even, to be serious. All her bright young wit was flashing like a newly awakened flame, and all her high young spirits leaped as if dancing to its fire. And yet she never spoke a word which gave more pain than pleasure. And even in her outward look there was much of difference. Whether it was our warmth and freedom, and our harmless love of God and trust in one another, or whether it were our air and water and the pea-fed bacon, anyhow, my Lorna grew richer and more lovely, more perfect and more firm of figure, and more light and buoyant, with every passing day that laid its tribute on her cheeks and lips. I was allowed 1 kiss a day, only one for Menna's sake, because she was our visitor, and I might have it before breakfast, or else when I came to say good night, according as I decided. And I decided every night not to take it in the morning, but put it off till the evening time, and have the pleasure to think about through all the day of working. But when my darling came up to me in the early daylight, fresher than the day star, and with no one looking, only her bright eyes smiling, and sweet lips quite ready, was it likely I could wait and think all day about it? For she wore a frock of Annie's, nicely made to fit her, taken in at the waist, and curved. I never could explain it, not being a mantua maker, but I know how her figure looked in it, and how it came towards me. But this is neither here nor there, and I must on with my story. Those days are very sacred to me, and if I speak lightly of them, trust me, 'tis with lip alone, while from heart reproach peeps sadly at the flippant tricks of mind. Although it was the longest winter ever known in our parts, never having ceased to freeze for a single night, and scarcely for a single day, from the middle of December till the 2nd week in March, to me it was the very shortest and the most delicious, and verily I do believe it was the same to Lorna. But when the Ides of March were come, of which I do remember something dim from school, and something clear from my favourite writer, lo, there were increasing signals of a change of weather. One leading feature of that long cold, and a thing remarked by every one, however unobservant, had been the hollow moaning sound ever present in the air, morning, noon, and night time, and especially at night, whether any wind were stirring, or whether it were a perfect calm. Our people said that it was a witch, cursing all the country from the caverns by the sea, and that frost and snow would last until we could catch and drown her. But the land being thoroughly blocked with snow, and the inshore parts of the sea with ice, floating in great fields along, Mother Melldrum, if she it were, had the caverns all to herself, for there was no getting at her. And speaking of the sea reminds me of a thing reported to us, and on good authority, though people might be found hereafter who would not believe it, unless I told them that from what I myself beheld of the Channel, I place perfect faith in it. And this is, that a dozen sailors at the beginning of March crossed the ice, with the aid of poles, from Clevedon to Penarth, or where the Holme rocks barred the floatage. But now, about the 10th of March, that miserable moaning noise, which had both foregone and accompanied the rigour, died away from out the air; and we, being now so used to it, thought at first that we must be deaf. And then the fog, which had hung about even in full sunshine, vanished, and the shrouded hills shone forth with brightness manifold. And now the sky at length began to come to its true manner, which we had not seen for months, a mixture, if I so may speak, of various expressions. Whereas till now, from All-Hallows-tide, 6 weeks ere the great frost set in, the heavens had worn one heavy mask of ashen grey when clouded, or else one amethystine tinge with a hazy rim when cloudless. So it was pleasant to behold, after that monotony, the fickle sky which suits our England, though abused by foreign folk. And soon the dappled softening sky gave some earnest of its mood, for a brisk south wind arose, and the blessed rain came driving, cold indeed, yet most refreshing to the skin, all parched with snow, and the eyeballs so long dazzled. Neither was the heart more sluggish in its thankfulness to God. People had begun to think, and somebody had prophesied, that we should have no spring this year, no seed time, and no harvest; for that the Lord had sent a judgment on this country of England, and the nation dwelling in it, because of